Hi, dear friends. It's Dr. Jennifer Grameth here from W.A.Y Health and Wellness. Today, I want to talk to you about what are the key principles to living a healthy life. Things that we should not ignore, things that we need to analyze in our life. So, number one, let's just start with the most important thing, and that is water. This is something I see every day in my practice. People are chronically dehydrated, and they think because they do drink some water and that there's water in their tea and their coffee, that that counts. And they still show to be chronically dehydrated. So there's good water and there's not so good water. You definitely need filtered water. High pH water is actually beneficial for you, and it's definitely a plus, but you have to have clean water. And so make sure that you have a good water source. And it's not just the water that you're drinking that's important, it's the water that you're bathing in. There are thousands of known chemicals, endocrine disruptors, and known carcinogens in our water supply these days. Lots of pharmaceutical drugs are in the water, and we're having exposures by bathing in them. And those of you who drink tap water are increasing your exposures as well. And those are harmful chemicals to the human body. So make sure you're drinking water, but it's clean water, it's pH water, and that you're drinking enough of it. Most people don't realize that when you drink coffee and tea, it actually takes the water out of the body, so it causes you to become more dehydrated. So if you have a diet that is high in coffee or tea, you're going to be even more chronically dehydrated. Chronic dehydration causes inflammation in the body. So it will first usually cause inflammation in the gastrointestinal system, where we get the majority of our absorption of our nutraceuticals and our vitamins and minerals from the foods that we eat. So it affects that initially. But then it starts, as you become more and more dehydrated, it's going to be dehydration at a cellular level. And that causes malfunction of all of your systems of your body. So water is key to being healthy. The average person, the average adult, about 150 pounds, needs to be drinking a minimum of 64 ounces. But don't just stick with that. You actually need probably more than that if you are working out, exercising, sweating. More water, the better. And so drink water throughout the day. It is not good to guzzle water down. So let's say, for instance, you're trying to just get in your 64 ounces, so you drink 32 ounces in the morning and 32 ounces in the evening. You're not going to get good absorption like that. When you drink it and guzzle it down, it's going to go in you and out you and not have the opportunity to be absorbed at a cellular level. So drinking water consistently throughout the day is a better option. Key number two is the food that you eat. 95% of the disease process starts at the end of your fork. 5% of it is genetics. 95 is what you put into this body. And so pay close attention to what you're putting into the body. The most toxic foods out on the market today are going to be in the dairy industry and in the meat industry. They are full of hormones and known carcinogens, nitrates. All of these things are extremely toxic for the body. They're endocrine disruptors that cause your hormones to not function well. And your endocrine system actually runs every other system of the body. So if you're eating foods that are high in pesticides, it can cause leaky gut issues, and you'll have less absorption. So you'll actually be malabsorbed, even if you're obese. People who eat a lot of meat and dairy will have all types of issues: thyroid issues, adrenal issues, pituitary, pineal. They'll notice that they're not sleeping well, they feel very lethargic, their immune system goes down. People used to get colds and flus that would last a day to 2 days. Now people are sick for weeks. Our immune systems are getting weaker and weaker as we continue to put toxic chemicals into our body. So eating a diet rich in fruits and vegetables, and mostly vegetables and very colorful vegetables, is giving our body the chance and the nutrition that it needs to repair the damage done from the environmental toxins. If you're not eating those types of foods and you're having the exposures, which we all do, from the environment, your body cannot recoup from that. And that is when you develop chronic disease. And so the food is crucial. It doesn't matter if you're doing a plant-based ketogenic diet, a paleo diet, a hallelujah diet. They all have benefit. It is the portions of the amounts of foods that you're eating. And what makes them all effective is that you're eating massive amounts of vegetables in those diets. Will help with weight loss. It will help with cognition. So it helps with neurological functions, immunological functions, and you cannot go wrong by eating a healthy, well-balanced diet. And so food is the second key. Make sure you clean up your diet. I recently have been doing some research on a company called My Bistro MD, and it is a company for those of you who really struggle with preparation of the foods that your body needs. You can actually order the food. They have no GMOs. It's grass-fed beef and chicken. It's a fairly clean diet, but they give you the exact portions that you need to lower your blood glucose, to support heart health, to help with digestion. And so all of those are very beneficial for obtaining health. So those of you who just don't have time to prepare and get your foods in order, this is a great alternative. You can contact my office for more information or go online to mybistromd.com. And I'll tell you from personal experience, because I am prone genetically to be diabetic. And so I noticed that my blood sugars were creeping up into the pre-diabetes stage. And anytime your blood glucose levels are high, your state of inflammation is higher. Inflammation is the enemy of the body and creates many disease processes. So knowing that, I knew it was very important for me to get my blood glucose levels down to below 95 on a fasting blood glucose. And so I started taking vanadium, chromium, and things that I knew helped lower it, but it would not lower it below 95. It would stay right around the 100 range. And so as I started the My Bistro MD, by the third day, my blood sugar was in normal range. It's been down at 88 or 90 most days. This is the second week on mybistro.com. I've lost 6 pounds and I feel great. My cognition is better. And so I'm not saying that everybody should do this, but for those of you that just have an extremely difficult time with preparation of your meals and you just need to get off some excess weight and reduce inflammatory numbers and balance your blood glucose, this may be an option for you. So check in with my office. You can do your own prep. You can eat the vegetables and the fruits that your body needs to stabilize your blood glucose on your own, but this is just another option. So food, very important. Another thing is PMF, and that stands for pulse electromagnetic frequency, or grounding yourself. And so we need to be grounded. We are so inundated with EMF exposures from our cell phones, our computers, our Wi-Fi in our homes, radon, which is a natural source of radiation. If you have overexposures to the sun, all of this radiation is harmful to the body to some extent. And so that is an issue for all of us. So we can use devices like grounding mats. You can take your shoes off, go out into your yard and stand in the grass 10 to 15 minutes a couple of times a day, and that helps to rebalance the electromagnetic magnetic fields in the body. So grounding yourself, PMF mats are great. We have one in the office called the IMRS 2000, and it's helpful with pain, insomnia, immune disorders, you name it. You can benefit you greatly. It can benefit you greatly by using this on a more frequent basis. It's something that you can do in the practitioner's office, but you also can buy these EMF mats or grounding mats for your beds and sleep on them, and it actually helps you to get deeper, more REM sleep. You can use mats to stand on at my desk in my office. Because I'm using computers, my feet are on a grounding mat so I don't get damage in the DNA from the radiation of the computers and cell phones as I use them for hours a day. I also use things like this little harmony pendants that harmonizes bad EMFs or radiation and make it more biologically accepted into the body. So these are great things to help to, it doesn't block it, but it neutralizes the EMF radiation that you have exposures to. So those are great things to do and very inexpensive to do. Another thing we want to do is support brain function. This has become necessary because of our exposures to certain known neurotoxins. Those of you who use artificial sweeteners, those are neurotoxins. The EMF from your cell phones, holding it up to your head, that constant radiation is very damaging to the brain function. And there are so many processes going on into the brain. And so support brain health. It doesn't matter if you have a history of Alzheimer's or dementia in your family. We all need to protect our brain. We are all having exposures to 5G, to all of this EMFs, and even low doses of radiation exposures have shown to be harmful for human beings and animals. And so support brain function with things like omega-3s, which are anti-inflammatories. You can take higher doses of omega-3, and as long as it's a liposomal form, it will pass the blood-brain barrier and get rid of inflammation in the brain. You can also test your neurotransmitters on the Zyto biofeedback and see if your neurotransmitters are out of balance. That can help with mood and sleep and other neurological disease processes. So support brain function. Eat foods that actually look like the brain, like walnuts is a great food for the brain. And if you break it up and you look at it, it actually looks like the brain. So those are usually signs of the areas of the body that it will be beneficial for. Broccoli shows up, and broccoli looks like the bronchioles in the lungs. Broccoli is excellent for respiratory issues. So just a side note there. And then last but not least, emotions. Emotions are so important to deal with. We tend to just try to get through life without having to really sit with and really address the emotional traumas that we've been through. We chalk it up as, we just got to let go and, move on. But most of the time, our body doesn't let go of it until we give it sufficient time, until we grieve through the process, or we just sit with it and think about it. Then our body can let go of it. But what happens in most cases when we have trauma is it's downloaded into the body. It could be the breast and cause breast cancer. It could be in the gut and cause colon cancer. It could be in the heart and cause a heart attack. It could be in the pancreas and cause diabetes. There's an emotional component to every disease process. And I have seen this in my practice for over 20 years. And so those people who do not address the emotional component of the disease will see a reoccurrence of the disease process over and over again. So make sure that you address the emotional component to disease as well. Set with your body, set in a state of meditation, and notice where you have pain and discomfort in your body that typically can be signs of emotions that you've not dealt with. And so I know that a lot of women who have had rape, they typically will have issues with their hips and their thighs, because as long as you have inflammation in that area, your body is trying to protect you from having that trauma again. And so the brain is very intelligent, and it's always about survival for you. It doesn't matter if you're happy or not, it's just about surviving. And so if you've had trauma, the body will create areas of inflammation to protect you. Or if you were raped, many times we put on a bunch of weight because we think that if we have extra weight that we're going to be less attractive to the person who, the attacker, or we are trying to protect ourselves. Diabetes typically has to do with loss of sweetness of life. A lot of times, diabetic will also have excess weight because they're ready to fight. They're always ready to fight and protect themselves due to that loss. So they have that barrier trying to keep them from getting close to people so that they don't lose people anymore. And this is all happening on the subconscious level. So the emotions are very, very important. So balancing structure, chemistry, and emotions, that is the key to having a healthy body for a long period of time. As long as God allows you to be on this earth, you can have a healthy, vibrant body. And I hope that has helped you and encouraged you today to make a few changes in your diet and lifestyle. If you need extra help and support, or you just want to know where you stand, if you want to know how toxic am I, because it's no more a question of, am I toxic? Am I toxic? No, everybody's toxic. But how toxic am I? That's the question. I can help you at Right Way Health and Wellness. Contact our office for a free consult, or you can come in for testing, and we'll be able to analyze your body and tell you where you need to focus, and so that you can have your maximum health potential. It is something that we all can take control over. We have control over our own health. And so don't give that control over to anyone else, not your doctor, not your spouse. You have control over your health. You make the decisions of what goes in and on your body. So I thank you for your time, and God bless you, and have a happy, healthy rest of your week.